Hi, yeah, Hirsch Saha here, speaking from Wellington, New Zealand. It is still the 8th of February 2021, and this time addressing that topic that is really at the top of most people's minds, especially right now here in New Zealand at the moment. No, it's not the COVID-19 epidemic or anything like that. It is the other big topic of our times. No, it's not climate change either. Of course, I my complete respects to those two topics, both very, very important and very, very relevant, and I believe in both as well. I certainly think they both require a lot of attention, but no, this time today we'll be talking about the other one, housing. Especially right here in New Zealand, with the property market gone absolutely haywire, gone through the roof, so to speak. Basically, in summary, because of pent up demand from after the lockdowns that we had here in New Zealand, also with less people traveling overseas, they've got a bit extra income that they can use to buy property with. There's that, so there's a pent up demand. There's a shortage of supply. That's both actual listings on the market as well as the actual amount of housing stock in the country compared to demand. So there's pent up demand, there's a shortage of supply, and then of course don't forget the biggest culprit of them all right now, record low interest rates or record low mortgage rates. And that is why there's heaps of demand. You see properties, not just in the cities, but even in the regions, just within a few days of being listed, they're immediately snapped up or they have offers on them and buyers are just killing themselves, to get into the properties, to buy them, to snap them up, to secure them. So without it should come as no surprise is that property prices have just been increasing and increasing and increasing, and it's changing every month, let alone every year or quarter. And a lot of people, especially those from my generation or around my age, are really complaining, saying that it's just become virtually impossible to get into your first house, let alone build an investment property portfolio. It's just so hard, and it shouldn't be so hard, and I get that completely, even compared to, say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, one generation ago, even after you adjust for changes in average income and quality of life, or, the general wealth of the New Zealand economy or the New Zealand people, housing today is still much, much less affordable than it was back then, even after you adjust for inflation and changes in average income or quality of life, standards of living, those sort of things. But something I'm going to propose today, and I don't think it will, of course, it will not solve the problem. Of course, it will not make you feel much, much better. You'll probably still feel like complaining about it if you're in New Zealand and if you're from my generation and if you do care about securing a property at some point. But it's something that'll still make you think. I mean, the only reason why property today, especially in New Zealand, is seen as such an incredible thing, like if you have a property, even if it's mortgaged to the hilt, you secured a property seen as a huge achievement. The only reason why it's seen as such is because it's so hard to acquire. 20 years ago, as little as 20 years ago, certainly more than 20 years ago, when property was much, much more affordable, everyone had a property, everyone had a house. Therefore, it was not seen as a big achievement because everyone had one. It's a bit like today with having cars or mobile phones. Both are very useful and both you can do so many things with, and both many people could not imagine their lives without. But everyone has a car, everyone has a cell phone, despite all the things they can do and how helpful they are. Just like in those days, everyone had a house. It might be mortgaged, but everyone had a house. It might not be the best house, but still, pretty much everyone had a house. So today it's only seen as such a great achievement because it's so hard to acquire. When it's interesting, isn't it? When something is very easy to acquire, even if that thing is what you need to survive, like a modern day necessity such as a mobile phone or a car, or an absolute necessity such as oxygen. If it's free and if everyone has it, we just don't appreciate it. We don't value it. We don't talk about it. We take it for granted. But the minute there is something that is hard to acquire, especially with something that everyone wants or everyone sees as a bit of a necessity, even a modern day necessity, like owning a property, owning a house, when it's hard to acquire, it's seen as something big, and we all complain about it, we all talk about it, we get angry when it becomes harder and harder out of reach. So that is understandable, but again, it's just something to make you think. Something, is only seen as a huge achievement when it is hard to acquire. Whether it does help you a lot in life or it doesn't, then again, don't forget the other thing like oxygen. You need it to survive, certainly much more than housing. it's so easy to acquire and everyone has free access to it. Therefore, it's not really seen as a big thing when you have it, or it's not, taken for granted. It's not seen as a huge achievement in quotes. So just it's something to think about. I know it doesn't solve the problem. You probably still feel like complaining about how unaffordable housing is today compared with just a few years ago, let alone a generation ago. But hey, it's still something to go on. Hopefully, at least for just a few minutes, it's something that'll make you think. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.